The storm outside mirrored the tension inside. Lightning flared against the towering glass walls of Raven Dynamics, a Fortune 500 company standing tall in the heart of Manhattan. On the 42nd floor, the boardroom buzzed with murmurs of greed, betrayal, and plans that would change lives. But at the center of this storm sat Adrian Cross, a man who never asked to be here. Adrian was a retired Navy SEAL, a widowed single father raising his 11-year-old daughter, Lena. He'd traded battlefields for bedtime stories, military precision for the quiet chaos of fatherhood. Yet, no matter how much he wanted to leave his past behind, his instincts never dulled. That night, those instincts would save a life. Adrian wasn't a board member. He wasn't supposed to be in that room at all. He was simply there to support Amelia Vale, a brilliant and ambitious executive with a reputation for exposing corporate corruption. She had hired Adrian as her personal security consultant after receiving Vale threats, though she tried to brush them off. "Adrian," she whispered as they entered the boardroom together, "I'll be fine. This is just a vote. Nothing more." Adrian's eyes swept the room. Nothing was ever just a vote. His SEAL-trained gaze picked up everything, the way two men in tailored suits kept their hands near their jackets, the too-still silence when Amelia sat down at the head of the table, the faint tension in the air like the calm before combat. The meeting began. Numbers, profits, acquisitions, words traded like weapons. But Adrian wasn't listening to the figures. He was listening for danger. And then it happened. The tallest board member, Chris Hale, slammed his fist on the table. "Enough of this charade. Amelia, you think you can waltz in here and expose us? You don't belong in this chair." He lunged across the table, hand reaching into his jacket. Adrian was faster. In one swift motion, he grabbed Chris's wrist, twisted it back until a hidden blade clattered onto the mahogany floor, and shoved him against the wall. Gasps erupted around the room. "Hands off the lady," Adrian growled, voice steady, calm, dangerous. But Chris wasn't working alone. Two other men rose to their feet, revealing more than just ambition. Hidden firearms, silencers glinting under the lights. Amelia froze, her breath caught. The other board members looked on in stunned horror, unsure whether to intervene or flee. Adrian moved like lightning. Years of combat flooded back, muscle memory sharper than any blade. He tipped over the heavy conference table for cover, shielding Amelia. Gunshots shattered the polished glass windows, the storm outside roaring louder than ever. Adrian pulled Amelia close. "Stay down. Don't move." The men closed in. This wasn't a boardroom anymore, it was a battlefield. Adrian fought with the precision of a warrior who had faced death more times than most could imagine. He disarmed one attacker with a brutal twist of the arm, using the man's own weapon against him. Another lunged, but Adrian slammed him into the steel column, the man crumpling unconscious. In minutes, the ambush was over. The silence afterward was deafening. Broken glass littered the floor, board members trembling in shock. Amelia clutched Adrian's arm, eyes wide not just with fear, but with something else. Trust. Gratitude. But Adrian wasn't celebrating. His instincts told him this was just the beginning. "Who sent them?" Adrian demanded, pinning Chris to the wall. Chris spat blood, sneering. "You can't stop it, Cross. She's already marked." That night, as Adrian escorted Amelia safely to her car, Lena's face filled his thoughts. He'd promised his daughter a quiet life. He'd promised her no more war. But now, war had found him again. And this time, the battlefield wasn't some faraway desert. It was right here, in glass towers and shadowed streets. Amelia gripped his arm. "Adrian. I don't know who I can trust anymore." He met her gaze, his jaw tight. "You can trust me. But if we're going to survive this, we need to find out why they want you dead." Lightning flashed again, and Adrian knew one truth: his fight wasn't over. It was only the beginning. At home, the contrast was brutal. Lena's world was small school books, drawings on the fridge, her rabbit plushie, but Adrian could feel the shadow of the boardroom clinging to him even as he tucked her into bed. "Daddy," Lena asked, peering up with sharp, curious eyes. "Why do you look worried?" Adrian hesitated. "Sometimes grown-ups have to deal with bad people, that's all." "But you don't need to worry, I'm right here." "Promise," she whispered. "Promise," he said, kissing her forehead. But as he closed her bedroom door, his phone buzzed. An encrypted message appeared. "You can't protect her forever. Step aside, Cross." His blood ran cold. The next morning, Emilia arrived, pale and exhausted. "They've frozen my accounts," she whispered. "Every record of the corruption I uncovered is gone." "And Chris?" "He was released last night. Someone powerful is pulling the strings." Adrian rubbed his temples. He'd seen this before: systems corrupted from the top down. Enemies in suits were often deadlier than enemies with guns. Lena walked out sleepily, clutching her rabbit. "Daddy, is everything okay?" Adrian knelt, forcing a smile. "Everything's fine, kiddo. Just work stuff." But Lena's eyes, sharp like her father's, studied Emilia. She walked over, gently taking Emilia's hand. "You don't look fine," Lena said softly. Emilia broke. Tears she had held back through boardrooms and betrayals spilled down her face. For the first time in years, someone had seen her vulnerability. That night, Adrian reached out to an old SEAL teammate, Derek Kane, now working in private intelligence. Derek's voice was gravel over the line. "You always swore you were out, Cross. But if you're calling me, it means hell is already at your door." "It is," Adrian admitted. Within hours, Derek sent him classified files. Adrian's eyes narrowed as he scrolled. Raven Dynamics vice chairman, Victor Drayton, was the architect. A man ruthless enough to orchestrate assassinations while shaking hands with senators. Emilia's investigation had gotten too close. Adrian clenched his fists. Drayton's not going to stop until she's gone. Over the next few days, Adrian lived two lives. By day, he was still dad, packing Lena's lunch, helping with math homework, walking her to school. But by night, he was back in the shadows, planning, tracing Drayton's money trail with Derek, and guarding Emilia from threats that lurked in every corner. The strain wore on him. Lena began noticing the new scars on his knuckles, the way his eyes lingered on every stranger too long. One night, she asked the question he dreaded. "Daddy, are you going away again? Like you used to when you were a soldier?" Adrian froze. Then he pulled her close. "No, baby. I'm fighting so I don't have to leave again." Lena nodded, but Adrian could see in her eyes that she didn't fully believe him. Emilia, too, carried scars. Over a late-night coffee in Adrian's kitchen, she finally told him why she'd fought so hard against Raven Dynamics. "My father was a whistleblower," she said quietly. "He uncovered fraud years ago, but the company silenced him. He didn't survive it. I promised myself I'd never let them do that to anyone else." Her hands trembled. Adrian covered them with his own, steady, strong. "You've already done more than most ever would," he said. "But now it's my turn to make sure they don't silence you." For the first time, she smiled through her tears. The final confrontation came sooner than expected. Adrian and Emilia were summoned to an emergency meeting at Raven Dynamics. Adrian knew it was a trap, but sometimes the only way forward was straight into the fire. He left Lena with Derek, promising he'd be back. Her voice echoed in his head as he walked out the door, "Be careful, Daddy." The boardroom was empty when they arrived. Only Victor Drayton stood there, flanked by armed guards. Well, Drayton sneered. "The soldier and the saint. Did you really think you could expose me? Emilia, you should have stayed in your lane. And Cross, you should have stayed retired." He raised a hand, signaling his men. But Adrian had been ready. Chaos erupted. Gunfire thundered through the room, but Adrian moved like a storm. He disarmed one guard with a bone-crunching strike, spun into another with flawless precision. Emilia ducked, covering her head as glass and wood splintered around her. Adrian's body bore the scars of combat, but his will was unbreakable. Every punch, every takedown carried not just his training, but his vow to his daughter, to never let the darkness win. One by one, the guards fell. Only Drayton remained, cowering by the shattered windows. Adrian grabbed him by the collar, slamming him against the wall. "You think money makes you untouchable?" Adrian hissed. "Not tonight." Drayton smirked, even in defeat. "You can't kill me. Men like me, we never fall." Adrian's jaw tightened. He didn't need to kill him. He dropped Drayton to the floor and looked at Emilia. "Record this." With her phone trembling in her hands, Emilia captured Drayton's panicked confession as Adrian forced the truth out: every bribe, every crime, every plan to silence her. By dawn, the video was on every news outlet in the country. Victor Drayton's empire collapsed overnight. Weeks later, life began to settle. Adrian stood on a pier with Lena, watching the sunrise. Emilia approached quietly, a faint smile on her face. "It's over," she said. "The board has been cleared, the FBI is moving in, and you, Adrian, are a hero." He shook his head. "Heroes don't exist. Just people trying to do the right thing." Lena slipped her small hand into his. "You're my hero, Daddy." Adrian looked at Emilia, then at the horizon. For the first time in years, he felt peace. Sometimes the battles we never wanted are the ones that define us. Strength isn't just about fighting enemies, it's about protecting the people who believe in you, no matter the cost.